That was your hug. No, that was it. That was the, okay, here we go. I'm going to cover this. Well, good evening, guys. Thanks for coming out. Everyone feeling okay? Doing all right? Everyone good? Well, I appreciate you guys spending time with us. Obviously, I want to get you guys quickly in front of the 6-minute video. Anyone that didn't have a chance to see it can go, okay, I get it. 90-day challenge, simple, mainstream, etc. And now what we're going to do today is we're going to take you up to the 10,000-foot view. And when I talk about the 10,000-foot view, it's specifically designed for individuals that are like yourself that are, they got a full-time networking background. People that can. If I was in your shoes, this is the stuff that I would want to know. And it's not just the good stuff. I'm also going to tell you the stuff that, are the parts of the past that necessarily didn't go so well. And, that's very unique a lot of times. When you get to sit down with owners, they don't usually tell you the good and the bad. But you're definitely going to hear that today. Also, what I think you guys will be excited about is we'll go through a lot of data and we'll go through a lot of numbers. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on is that the numbers are really the numbers. And that's exciting because you're not going to experience any networker rounding here this evening. And what networker rounding is when somebody is making $6,000 a month and they say they make $10,000 a month. They're like, it's close, I just make $10,000 a month. They just round up to the nearest 10. Not really putting into play that they just doubled the number almost, right? So you won't have to worry about any networker rounding tonight. The numbers are the numbers, and we're gonna dig deep and go through everything that we can. We'll go through the backstory. We're gonna go through the compensation plan. I'm gonna go through what it is that we're best in the world at and how you can maximize that. And then last, we're gonna go through the launch plan that we're currently right in the middle of with this particular organization. So, quick backstory. I'm originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. A very blue-collar, middle-class upbringing. I didn't actually know what network marketing was growing up, which is kind of ironic, growing up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I literally thought that Amway was just the largest hotel downtown. And, and it's kind of funny, but it's also true, because Amway is the largest hotel downtown in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I didn't know that it was a business. And when I turned 18, I got started in a telecommunications-based network marketing company while I was playing college baseball. Fell in love with it. By the time I was 22, was making $25,000 plus a month. Made my first million in the industry at 25, and then several times over since then. So it's been a great journey. But when I was 26, the company I was a part of went out of business, and I got the phone call from the CEO. I said, "Hey, we're shutting the doors." And I called my top producer, who's Blake Mullen. Blake Mullen's on the right side of the magazine. And I said, "Blake, what do you want to do? They're shutting the doors. What's our next step?" And we realized in that conversation that we had 3,000 people that were set to get a check on Monday. And after we realized that, we knew exactly at that moment that the only option for us was to buy the assets of the company, a.k.a. put all the money that we had in our bank account into the account so that checks would keep coming for our people. We had no desire whatsoever to field 3,000 phone calls of why people weren't going to be able to pay for their car note or their house payment or whatever because the company just was closing its doors. So I tell you this because a lot of people want to know. They say, "Why did you guys start this company?" And they're surprised to find out that it wasn't started out of desire. We started out of necessity more than desire. And we definitely didn't start the two ways that most companies start in our industry. Most companies start in our industry, number one, out of ego. A couple guys getting together going, "Well, we can do it better than them, let's just go start our own." And they find out it's not quite as easy as they thought it was. Or number two is greed. We can just go make more money, let's just go start our own. And our company wasn't started out of either. Our company was started out of active protection, an act of servanthood. And my firm belief is when you start things for the right reasons and you continue to make decisions for the right reasons, that you have not a guarantee but a lot better shot of making it and being around for a very long time. And I'll argue that one of the reasons for our success is because we've always continued on the path of doing things for the right reasons. And that started with the first decision, which ended up us owning a company, really on accident. So we took over the assets of the company at that point, which were really just the staff. I know technically that's an expense, but there was a huge asset to us. The software and also excuse me, let me turn this off to mute. There we go. Again, the staff, the software, took over the office. And we stripped away everything that the company had, because it started as a long-distance company, and 7 years later, long distance that was once 25 cents a minute was now free. So obviously they were diversifying. It ended as a long-distance skincare, nutritional, household supply, and telecom and website sales company. That was what we ended up with after 6 or 7 years. So clearly we had lost our direction as a company, and we had stripped away everything that the company had with the exception of one thing. It had just developed a relationship with a guy, but hadn't started marketing his products yet, with a guy by the name of Dr. Michael Seidman. And Dr. Michael Seidman is the Chief Wellness Officer of one of the #1 largest health systems in America today. He is the director of Henry Ford's Holistic Center. He is top 1% of all doctors as rated by his peers. The key thing to me is he's been funded by the National Institute of Health for the last 20 years to research preventative medicines, holistic approaches to health, etc. So literally our tax dollars had gone for 20 years, a portion of them, to him to research supplements that we now market. So we thank all of you guys for all of your hard work and dedication of your tax dollars. And you know, it was one of those things where it was gift wrapped with a bow on it. I mean, he was just sitting there waiting for someone to stumble upon him. We just happened to be the people that stumbled upon him. We grabbed him. We created ViSalus with the assets of a 8-year-old network marketing company that had gone out of business and the life's work of a scientist for 20 years of federally funded research, and brought these two together. And that's how ViSalus was born. Some people ask, what does the name ViSalus mean? ViSalus actually means life, health, and prosperity. Vi means life, and Salus means health and prosperity. So in terms of the 3 core pillars of the company, life experiences. You know, giving people life experiences that they're never going to have, you know, usually in their normal everyday life, through their normal everyday activities. And what I mean by life experiences is, you know, the events, the people, the BMWs, the travel, the trips, the stars that attend our events. I mean, we've had everything from Jessica Biel to Jerry Rice to Hulk Hogan to you name it. It's just fun to have life experiences like that. And a lot of people don't get those in their everyday life. And also life experiences is having a commitment to, in my opinion, you know, personal growth, personal development, and developing that aspect of it. Number 2, health. I think you guys get it. Our focus is to improve that for people. And number 3, prosperity. Prosperity for us is threefold. Number 1, it's helping people make money. That's why we're in this industry. But number 2, it's also giving people a platform where they can become mentors to teach others how to be successful financially. And the last piece of prosperity for us is philanthropy. It's contribution, it's giving back, because it's one thing to have money, but it's also to be a person of philanthropy as well. And we'll talk about some of those things today and what we participate in and are involved in. So the company was born, and we had a whole lot of nothing. And that's a true story. I have no idea how we made it out of the first year, but 2 great things happened in that year. We met the gentleman in the middle of the magazine there, Mr. Ryan Blair. Ryan Blair has a traditional business background. We met him at 27. At the age 26, he had just got done selling the #1 wireless broadband company in America, B2B, for about a $25 million transaction, which is pretty decent for a guy who's 26. At the age 27, he was listed top 40 CEOs under the age of 40, West Coast based, which is, again, a pretty cool feat at the age of 27. So when we met him, he was a perfect fit for us to really bring great business acumen to the table to start to develop the infrastructure and the corporate structure and the corporate systems so that we could begin to scale. With him, he brought his #1 investor from his last company. They put the few million into us to get us off the ground and get us going. So now we can breathe, right? We're at the end of our first year. We've got a couple million. We can breathe a little bit. And in our second year, we did something completely, not only different, but the opposite of what our competitors do. And you're going to find out over the course of this story that a lot of the things we've done are not just different, but the opposite. Normally in our industry, and many of you guys, if you think back historically in the companies you've been a part of, normally with a startup in our industry, the owners tend to hire their cousins, their mom, and their best friend to run the home office. And though I'm sure those of you who are laughing are because that's probably true of the company you're part of. Even though those people may be great people, it doesn't make them qualified to run the operations of a company, right? And it's kind of like one of those things like, well, you know how to balance a checkbook, why don't you run accounting, right? It's like, you know, and they shouldn't necessarily be in that role. And now I understand why. Being a career networker of 14 years, almost half my life, you know, when I think about why that's true, it makes sense because our whole life as networkers, we're only taught warm market, warm market, warm market, warm market. And then beyond warm market, we're taught, you know, leave the job, leave the job, leave the job, interviews, blah, blah, corporate structure. Those are the things we're trained. So then when a networker goes and starts a company, they don't have a muscle at all or even a mindset at all to begin an interview process with someone who might be qualified for that role. In fact, we're trained to have a negative connection to that, right? So we just hire our best friends. And sadly, those companies don't make it. What we did is we went and hired the best of the best. And I mean people that were way beyond, their skill set was way beyond our company's necessity in our second year. I mean, they didn't have any business taking a job with us. But they did because they saw the vision of where we thought we were going to be years later. And I really believe, and not enough networkers place enough value on this particular piece of the topic. I really believe that says a lot to everyone as to who we were early on. Early on, we were hiring the best of the best, paying them $250,000 a year before we were even doing, you know, when we were a $5-10 million company, because we needed those people 5 years later. We needed those people today. We were getting them in place then so that they could do the best job possible as to where we're at today. So we saw where we were going to be years prior. We hired people like John Tolmie, who was the CFO of a $4 billion company. We hired Audrey Sommerfeld. Audrey had launched 80-some products in 56 countries in 40 languages in 5 years for Herbalife. She was the Senior Vice President of Global Brand Marketing for Herbalife. Prior to that, she launched the brand Neutrogena. And then prior to that, she was with Procter & Gamble. We hired John Purdy. John Purdy was the Senior Vice President of International Operations for Herbalife, which is still a $3.5 billion market cap company. And every country in the world reported to him outside of North America. Before that, he was the President of Asia for them. So these are some people, guys, that know what the heck they're doing in the operational side of direct sales network marketing, let alone international expansion. I have people that ask me all the time, are you guys planning on expanding international? I'm like, we hired the Senior Vice President of International Operations. We hired the Senior Vice President of Global Marketing. She launched products in 56 countries. So the people we've hired, guys, they all understand what it takes to go global, and that is absolutely our intention, but a different conversation nonetheless. So bottom line is, our second year, we started lining up the right players on the management team so we could scale once growth hit. And our third year, growth began to hit. I can't say it hit, but we had a nice third year. And by the way, you know, we're in the third year. Don't worry, the story, it's only 17 years long, so it won't be, I'm just kidding. She had a face of, oh my God. All right, so no, there's only a couple more years. So in our third year, guys, we did about $35 million our third year, which doesn't make us the biggest company in the third year business, but it's a pretty neat story when you consider the phone call, hey, we're shutting the doors, to 3 years later, we had taken that, the assets of that company and turned it into a $35 million company. Very difficult to do. I've now gone on to understand how many companies really don't do $3 million a month that say they do $6 million a month. And so now I understand really how well we did do in our third year. And we were feeling good. We made a decision that international expansion, and we were ready. We began to look for a fourth financial partner, somebody with deep pockets that could take us global. We had a couple players at the table, but there was only one that we really wanted to go with, and that was a company by the name of Blythe. Now, for those of you guys that are a bit into security, into structure, into long-term, this part of the story is really going to resonate with you. The rest of you guys, you know, it might not resonate with you, but I will argue it should. It should. You should probably worry a little bit more about longevity than maybe you have in the past. We partner with Blythe because of the fact that they provide three major things that I'm going to go over in a second. Who is Blythe? Blythe is a $1.6 billion a year publicly traded company. Their ticker's BTH if you want to do some research. They're owned by the Gergen family. The Gergen family at one point was one of Forbes' richest 400 families on planet Earth. They are very wealthy, very well respected, and huge philanthropists. In fact, if you were to go to the Wharton School of Business at Penn and you want to study entrepreneurship, you go to the Gergen School of Entrepreneurship. So when one of the Ivy League schools names their school of entrepreneurship after you, you must be a pretty decent entrepreneur, agreed? I mean, a pretty decent one. Well, what Blythe does, what their strength is they own multiple direct sales companies. Among other things, they own multiple direct sales companies. Their largest direct sales company that I know everyone in here has probably heard of because they're now top 20, maybe top 25 in the world today in total revenue is a company by the name of Party Light Candles. Many of you guys will be surprised to know that they do over $600 million a year in sales, which is more than MonaVie, which is way more than Isogenics, which is more than Noni, which is more than all the companies that we've all thought were like the deal. They do more than all of them, selling candles in the living room. So that brings me to my next piece of tonight. We're here to talk about Party Light Candles. Good, just joking. Right, I saw a couple people like, gotta go. So pretty successful story, and they own other direct sales companies as well as Miles Gimbal Catalog Company. They own Sterno, those little burners that every time you go to a hotel and you see those silver pots of food. They own Two Sisters Gourmet. They own Colonial Candle. When you go to the store and you buy those candles, they're the largest manufacturer of candles in the world. And you might say, well, what's your point? Do you guys have any idea how much profit can be made off wax? Any clue whatsoever? So, this is a family, guys, that has the longevity. They have the wealth to be able to get behind us to make us successful for the long term. They've been in business, if I didn't mention this, I'll repeat it, 30 years, 20 countries, 5 continents. That's a great track record. Now, here's the 3 reasons why we wanted to partner with them. Number 1, which is the obvious one, is they have the financial wherewithal to take us global. Number 2 is their shared resources opportunity for us. See, when you own a company that owns multiple direct sales companies, the things that you provide can be provided across all of the companies. So, for example, we don't have a ViSalus human resources manager or human resources director. We have a $1 billion HR department. And you're like, well, I don't really care about your HR department. You should. What this means is we have a $1 billion HR department that's staffing and interviewing for all of their companies, including ours. That's what they do, is they place into all of their companies. That's a thing that we don't have to spend any time or money on. So they're finding us the best talent in the world of direct sales to place into our company. Number 2, what about legal? We don't have a ViSalus lawyer. We're protected by Blythe Legal. That's our $1 billion big brother legal team that knows, everything about not just the laws in the U.S., but guys, they operate in 20 countries. I mean, what's the value of a legal team of a $1 billion company that knows the laws for 20 different countries for direct sales? See, these are the things that should be important to you if you're ever going to build something for the long term. Otherwise, whatever you're a part of, they're making it up as they go along, which we were until we met Blythe, right? And that's not necessarily going to be good for you for 10, 15 years later. The third thing that they provide, and you can absolutely not put a dollar amount in this. Welcome, by the way, for all of you guys. Welcome and welcome. You can't put a dollar amount on this last part, is their mentorship. What is it worth to have this startup company, to have somebody who's been doing this for 30 years be able to say, and not even what to do, it's what not to do. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go down that path, right? We know about 50 yards down the road where that cliff is, and it's stuff that none of us in here think about as networkers. We don't think about international tax laws, but they do. We don't think about international currency exchange stuff, but as a distributor, here's what we say. We're like, let's just get a camel and strap some product on their back and just send that thing into the country, right? Just open up the country like that, right? And I see some guilty faces as some of you guys are smiling because that's what we think. We're like, I don't know, we'll just drive it into the country. We'll hide it in the trunk. No, see, but these are the guys that know how to actually open up countries the right way. And so, you don't come back and get a country shut down on you for stuff like that. So this is why we chose Blythe. And I know I spent a good chunk of time there, but they're a big, important piece of who we are as a puzzle. Now, moving forward, at the announcement of Blythe, this was the end of 2008. And we had a belief of, holy cow, we are going to take over the world. Nothing can stop us now. The buzz started to get out about ViSalus. People from the networking industry even started to sign up. And then the entire economy fell out 1 month after our announcement. We announced it in October. November, what happened to the stock market? Kaboom, right? The stock market plummeted, and with it, the economy went next. So we were forced into the boardroom. Actually, some data for you. This is never taught to you by your upline, unless you are the upline. Then you're definitely not teaching this. And it's never told to you by the owner of your company. However, the direct sales industry in 2009 in North America fell 40%. That is the equivalent of the real estate decline. It fell as much as real estate did. And this was unheard of to networkers because here's the thing we always said, we grow in a recession. We're network marketing. We always go up in a recession. Well, not only did we not go up, we fell by 40%. Now, if the industry fell 40%, what did checks fall? 70%? You fall 2 ranks in your comp plan. Checks dropped 70%. People started fleeing, right? People was like, everyone hated their owners and their leaders, but they didn't understand it was an economic thing that was across the entire industry because everyone thought it was unique to the company they're part of. Well, the economy affected every company, but how every company responded to it was up to them. So if your company did not respond to it in the correct fashion, well, that's probably why you're sitting in this room right now, because it's now 2011, okay? And we're halfway through it. So what happened is most owners went to their boardroom, they sat down, and this is an opinion, this is not a fact. My opinion is most of them said something like this: how do we stop the bleeding? Or they said something like this: we got to get cash in the door fast. Something of that nature. But all of those things are short-term focused, right? It was about now money, now money, now money. Well, you be an accountant for a moment and look at a spreadsheet. If you were looking at a spreadsheet, you would have done the same thing that almost every company did in 2009. You'd have said, look at this. We got 10,000 active distributors. If each of them just spent $100 more, that'd be $1 million a month in the door. I've got an idea. Let's launch new products. Now, raise your hand if you saw either the company you're part of or all your competition launching products in 2009. Okay, who wants to be honest? Thank you. That's because that was the easiest way to get money in the door. Now, you as a leader, you're sitting there going, are you guys crazy? Our people can't even afford the first 150 you want them to spend, let alone 250. Sales dropped again. Then what happened was kind of comical, is that everybody in the field left their old product because it was more expensive and then got on the new product because it was cheaper. Sales dropped again. But wait a second, nobody has any testimonies on this new product and nobody knows how to sell this new product. Sales dropped again. So it was dropping on top of dropping on top of dropping. Wrong answer. Now what happened with us, and like I said, it was an opinion as to what I thought they were asking themselves. Launching the products was not an opinion. That was pretty obvious. You can just go look what everyone did in 2009. What we did was, and I know this because we wrote on the whiteboard, we said, how do we grow in a down economy? That was the question we asked ourselves. How do we grow in a down economy? And the answer that we came up with was customers. We said consumers. And we said this: if a customer will not buy it, regardless of whether or not they get a check, then it's not going to work. Here was the first thing to go when the economy went out. 4 bottles of anything. This is not a shot at a company, this is just economics. 4 bottles of shake, 4 bottles of water, 4 bottles of juice, it doesn't matter. Here's why. If you were selling 4 bottles to one person who was supposed to go resell 3 others and use 1, they now had a gigantic risk every month, which was, am I going to be able to resell these 3? Then they looked in their cupboard and they go, nope, I'm sure not going to be able to resell these other 3. There's some more guilty faces. So what they did is they cut their auto ship. we're done, right? So it was simply the economic model that they were using. They were selling them too much stuff per month. They didn't need it. They weren't reselling it. They dropped their auto ship. When the bottom started dropping their auto ship, it started unraveling all the way up, okay? Second thing to go was high-end beauty. Right? Now, Avon isn't high-priced, so they actually have held their sales. But there's other companies that were absolutely affected that were high-end beauty. What about Arbonne? Declared Chapter 11, right? And I can't say, I'm not a banker, if that was directly tied together. But I can tell you this. People are like, $50 eye cream, huh? I think I'm going to go ahead and buy groceries instead. Because they were paralyzed, or they really were affected financially. And people are like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and have crow's feet for the next 2 years. I got to keep the lights on. The third thing to go was high-end anti-aging cellular-based products. That's what we were. Now, so I'm telling you guys the story from we were affected. Our sales dropped 40%. And we were a high-end cellular anti-aging company. The product worked amazing. It's $100 a month, 4-product anti-aging system, cellular-based, tens of thousands of testimonies. Everybody loved it until they had to decide between gas in the car or anti-aging system for your cells. If you had to decide between gas in the car and anti-aging system for your cells, which one are you picking? Gas in the car. So it wasn't that they didn't like the stuff, it just is what it is, To give you guys a relative comparison, and all this is, I want you guys to understand who we were in the end of 2008. We looked a lot like Max GXL, which was funny because we didn't even know who they were. They probably didn't know who we were until we were in business 3 years. Our product line, our price points, what our products did, our presentation, meaning it was very science, bored the crap out of people. It was crazy, right? But we were a science-first cellular anti-aging company, and we did well, but the second the economy fell out, that auto ship was dropped. So we said, look, we got to learn from a mistake. We cannot assume that people are just going to use an expensive product because they're going to get a check someday. We got to focus on what a consumer wants now. We made a series of 3 decisions that we launched in July 2009. And these 3 decisions have not only changed the face of our company, but have changed the face of our industry, as you're seeing many knockoff companies of ours right now starting to pop up. First thing we did is we realized that meal replacement was going to be an easy sell in a down economy, because everyone was still going to eat. No matter what their financial situation was, they were still going to eat. And our third product in the line was already a meal replacement product. We just immediately moved it to the front of the line and said, this has got to be the focus right here, the meal replacement. And that way we can start getting consumers to say this, okay, I'm going to save money on my groceries and lose weight at the same time. Wow, that's a great deal. Or I'm going to save money on my groceries and get healthy. That's a great combination, as opposed to add money to my budget. Now, it wasn't hard to find this. There's already a company that was extremely successful doing this. That company was Nutrisystems. Nutrisystems was pitching meal replacement for years, and they were growing in the down economy because people said, I'm going to eat anyways. The second thing we did is we said, okay, how can we get a check to our distributors that will cover their auto ship? How do we get them a check, amount of money that will cover their auto ship so they won't come off their auto ship? And you might say, well, why did you want to do that? And my answer is because it was old thinking. It was old thinking. Old thinking is get people a check to cover their auto ship 30 days later. That's just old thinking. So we're messing with the percentages and we're dinking around with it. And then I remember saying to the guys, isn't product cheaper than money? And we all looked at each other like, to us, I mean. Like, well, yeah, of course. If the product wasn't cheaper than money, we'd be out of business, right? You have to have a margin. I said, then why don't we just give them the product for free? And we looked at each other like, can you do that? Like, does anybody do that? Like, I don't know. Do you know of anyone? I don't know anyone who does it. Let's do it, right? It made no sense to us. And once it came out of our mouths, we're like, why the heck doesn't everybody do this? It's so obvious. And what would you rather have? A check 30 days later that's really your income that you're going to be taxed on to cover the cost of your product you got shipped to you 30 days ago, or not getting your credit card charged, Which one would you rather have, the first one or the second one, right? The second one, don't charge my card. Well, and it turns out, psychologically, this is one of the most powerful things that we've ever introduced to the industry and to our people. Because it turns out people are a heck of a lot more motivated to avoid their credit card being charged than they ever were to get a check. It's crazy. They are way more motivated to avoid their card being charged than they are to get a check. And I get people that'll argue this. I'm like, really? Then why doesn't every one of your distributors have enough customers to pay for the product? Every single one. Because they're more motivated by the pain of their credit card than they are the check. And now it's to the point where you guys see every single company out there, that especially the smaller ones, has to launch some sort of program, whether it's an actual free program or a way just to word it so they can still get a check a month later. And you get the programs that are like 4 for free, and I'm like, guys, if you're going to knock us off, at least tie us, right? At least do 3, right? How are you going to go to your people and go, guess what, guys? It's going to be 1 more than the competition, right? It's like, well, gee, thanks. Can we at least do 3? When you think about what we're doing out there in the marketplace, every company in the next couple of years will have to have a free campaign. And it's an innovation that everyone's going to have to adopt to. And if you don't believe it, it's a retention thing. How could you as a leader compete against a company that's giving away free product in retention? You can't. Now you might be able to compete against them in selling new people. I said retention. You can't compete against retention of free. Nobody sends back a free box of stuff saying, stop sending me the free stuff, right? So you can't compete, but people will get a check and still cancel their auto ship. They'll get a check and still cancel their auto ship, okay? But people don't send back free. I'll give you guys an example of the past. 10 years ago, we would buy stuff online, and the way they would entice us to buy online is they'd offer us free shipping, right? So we're like, oh, right, I'm going to buy today. Today, if a website doesn't give you free shipping, you won't buy from it. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about, right? That's a change of a way an industry does business. We will change the way this industry does business, or they won't be able to compete because they can't compete with the retention of free. All right, let's move forward. The third thing that we did, oh, by the way, sorry, we're not moving forward. We extended that not just to our distributors, but to our customers. So our customers also get free product. You're like, how'd that happen? Well, we just asked ourselves this question. Well, what about customers? What if customers just go start referring customers? Should we give them free product? We're like, does anybody do that? We're like, no, nobody did the first one. We know nobody does the second one. Well, then let's give it a try. The only question mark was, could we track it? Sure enough, we had the software in place. Every customer had their own ID number. We started giving them free websites. We were in business, but customers could now get free product. And a lot of folks don't understand the magnitude of this, but imagine a scenario where 10% of your customers get free product, a small number. Now, that's not that big of a deal. Really? What that means, out of every 1,000 customers you have, 100 of them bring you 300 more. That means out of every 1,300 customers you have, 300 of them were brought by customers. Out of every 1,300 customers you have, 300 of them, 25%, were brought by your other customers. How about a scenario where 10, 15, 20, 25% of all your customers are brought by what? Other customers. That's where we're at today, okay? The third thing we did is we relaunched the entire company. And I mean, we relaunched the entire company. We didn't wake up and say, okay, we're going to have a 90-day challenge now, everybody. So we're now ViSalus. We've got all this cool stuff. We're going to sell the shake. We can get it for free, and we're going to have this 90-day challenge. That's not what we did. We didn't launch a 90-day challenge. We, as a company, became a 90-day challenge. That's literally who we became as a company, was the 90-day challenge. That subtle distinction has absolutely thrown our company into momentum, because there's a drastic difference between having a 90-day challenge and being a 90-day challenge. And when I say drastic, I mean drastic difference between those two. So having a 90-day challenge means you're a company that has all kinds of stuff, and one of the things mixed in there is also this challenge. How many of you guys have ever seen marketing promotions rolled out in your company and they get washed away with everything else that's going on, right? We do it, I mean, we have it too. It happens all the time. It's just part of business. So the 90-day challenge is not a marketing promotion. It is our company. We are a 90-day challenge. Nick, what do you guys sell? A 90-day challenge. Nick, what is your company? A 90-day challenge. That's what we are. Well, so what is your product and what is your business? A 90-day challenge. That's what we are. If you went to Weight Watchers today, and Weight Watchers decided to launch a 90-day challenge, would you consider Weight Watchers to be a 90-day challenge or to have a 90-day challenge? Have. And there's a difference between those two. Well, there was one company in the marketplace, and this wasn't in the networking marketplace, I mean in the non-networking marketplace, that had figured this out already. And we watched what they did and we said, you know what? That's the most, here's the question we said. We said, what the heck is working outside of network marketing? Because what's happening in network marketing is not working. And there was one company that was the most viral campaign that we had seen in years of people telling people, making a purchase, but no checks were being sent to anybody because there weren't that type of company. The most viral thing in the last few years. When I say it, you're all going to go, yep. I mean, guys, it was so drastic that half of our company was signing up in it and doing it. Anyone ever heard of P90X? Yes. Okay, now, let me finish the question before you raise your hand. How many of you guys have seen a friend post on Facebook, or were told directly, or overheard them talking about, a friend or family member, the P90X exercise campaign? And now look around. Okay? You three know or yes? Heard about it? Heard about it? No? Heard about it? Yes. Okay, so everyone but 3 people. Guys, that's 90% of this room. So 90% of this room, I didn't say saw their infomercial. I said heard about it from one of your friends or family members. Hello? 90% of the room? That's a viral campaign. Okay? What made them tick? Let's analyze this. First thing that made them tick, there was a beginning and there was an end. It was like a light, like the clouds had parted and the sun was shining down. Guys, as networkers, do you realize our entire careers, we've been standing in front of a room selling somebody something for the rest of their life? Would you as a consumer go, rest of my life, sounds good, here's my credit card, I can't wait. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. But that's what we've been selling. We've been selling, for the rest of your life, you got to be on this product because it's going to do this for you and it's going to do that for you. Do you understand how the rest of your life's a long time to pay for something, right? Yes. So the reason why P90X, let me ask you guys, if I said you had a choice between exercising nonstop the rest of your life or doing a 90-day campaign, which one are you going to pick? 90 days, right? So if I said, hey, you could take a product for the rest of your life or take a challenge for 90 days, which one are you going to take? 90 days. See, we forget as checks start coming in, man, we'll justify everything. We're like, no, everybody loves this stuff. No, it's the paycheck that clouds our normal thinking. Consumer doesn't want to buy something for the rest of their life. P90X took off because 90 days, beginning and end. Now, you better believe that they were upselling, reselling, add-ons, products, more DVDs. Because once you got someone for 90 days, you got them for a long time. After somebody transforms drastically in 90 days, you got them for a long time. And I know some of you guys came down here today going, well, what happens with this company after 90 days? Everybody quit? No, guys, think about it. If we just transform somebody's life for 90 days, you think they're gone? No. We've got them for a very long time if we got them for 90 days. Because we've created a habit out of their lifestyle at that point. They bought 90 days, but they're going to continue way beyond that. The second thing they dominated was user-generated content. User-generated content is real people telling stories to their own camera as opposed to a video crew flying in. And our industry is like, video crew fly in, cue the Porsche, yacht, cheesy guy smiling, right? And those are the videos that we hand out to our friends and family, right? And everyone's like, cheese ball, right? And it's old school. But what they did is they had the little computer popped open and people would be like, hey, look at my muscles, everybody, it works, look at my abs. And everyone in here went, oh, well, that's a real guy right there. Yeah, it must be working, right? You don't know if it's a real guy or not. You're just like, yeah, it's a real guy right there, right? I'm sure it was, but that's user-generated content. We already knew that we were dominating user-generated content within network marketing. I mean, guys, to the point where 2.5 years ago we launched the system where you could take your cell phone, grab somebody for a testimony, hit send, and it would immediately upload to your Facebook, your Twitter, and your ViSalus profile all within 60 seconds. And then after they got done watching that video, it would take them to your marketing website. We did that 2.5 years ago. So we knew user-generated content inside and out. The last thing was the before and afters. Well, have you guys ever seen the before and afters of anti-aging cells? Yeah. I haven't. So we were an anti-aging cellular company, right? I mean, what are you going to say? Like, these were my cells before, and these were my cells after. Now, you could do your lab reports, right? You could do your lab reports, but talk about complicated. So it dawned on us that, wow, we were really selling uphill with cellular-based anti-aging. I mean, with weight loss, it's like, here I was, here I am now, and everyone buys, right? Here I was, here I am now. So those three things combined, and I'm sure there's other things, but those three things combined is what we saw in P90X and said, you know what? We can become the product version of P90X. For those of you guys who are like, what the heck is that? It's a 90-day exercise program that you need to be a Navy SEAL to get through, right? I mean, it's just hard. So their marketplace is very small. It's the people that actually believe they can do that workout, right? I looked at it, and I work out 3 days a week, and I'm like, you ain't getting me to do that. There's no way, right? There's just no way. So they're limited to a few percentile of the population. Well, we becoming the product version, we're limited to anybody who's got a blender. We're limited to anybody that can make a shake. So everybody looks at our challenge, they don't go, I can't do that. Everyone looks at our challenge and go, I can do that. I can do that all day long. So the marketplace, our reach is significantly farther. So we now combine those three strategies, before and afters, user-generated content, and a 90-day challenge that everyone could participate in, and we put it into play. And I'll tell you what, it exploded in a way that we never even dreamed. And it didn't take us long to understand and figure out what was happening. We knew it would be catchy. We knew it would be fun. We knew if we relaunched the company as a 90-day challenge, and I mean everybody, the staff, the management team, the founders, the top producers, and everyone in between took the 90-day challenge all at the same time day one. We had literally relaunched the company, okay? So we had a good, we felt that it was going to go well. But as we got 90 days into it, we said, holy cow, this thing is a monster within itself. And we began to understand why. Here's why our company goes so fast. In network marketing, what we traditionally do is we take an average person and we hand them a bottle of stuff. We say, hey, average person, take this bottle of stuff and I want you to sell it to everybody that you know, right? And unfortunately, average person is not equipped to sell this, nor does their network know them as a person who would sell that. If you're a personal trainer, that's normal. If you're a chiropractor, normal. If you're an engineer, not so normal, right? So, engineer walks into work like, hey guys, got the stuff. And this was our company too, again, remember? Don't forget. Hey guys, I got this box of stuff. It's making you feel good, and your cells are going to be clean. And it's not normal, right? So what we do is we take all these people and we put them into weeks of training to teach them how to sell, because they have no selling background, right? So we start teaching, here's a 4-step close, personality type identification, the feel, felt, found, alternative close. We start teaching them, they're like, So 6 months later, they finally have got it down, but now here's the problem. We forgot that there's another part of them that is fear, which is different than skill. So now we got to put them in training for 4 more months of personal growth, personal development, to get them to go actually do the stuff that we've been telling them to do. Who knows what I'm talking about, right? Okay. But here's what we do. We use the word duplicate. We say duplicate. So we'll lock people, 30 people in a room like this, and we'll go through a 3-day boot camp, just beating people over the head. And at the end of it, we're like, you know what? Those 4 duplicated. So because 4 of them can go say maybe half of what you said, you duplicate it. Well, guys, technically, by definition, if one person tells one person and it works, that's duplication. I've come to the realization, and it was really hard for me to come to this realization, because my role in the company was Chief Sales and Training Officer. So the guy that I'm having the most fun with right now is myself, because I was the guy that created the 3-day boot camps with the 4 personality types. I was that guy, right? So, it was very difficult for me to understand that what we were doing was it was counterintuitive. It wasn't normal behavior outside our doors, right? So it's just a really slow process. What we want is viral. We don't want duplicatable. We want viral. We want people to tell people to tell people to people to people. How many training seminars do you see on how to tell someone about Facebook? You don't. How many training seminars did it take for the people that told you about P90X? How many seminars did they attend to learn that? They didn't. It's just normal for them to talk about it. So when we started to go viral, we started to understand, holy cow, we are tapping into people's normal behavior as opposed to trying to teach them stuff that they wouldn't normally do, or to become someone that their network doesn't know them as, right? That's why people want to go talk to cold market. It's because they want to talk to people who don't know them as this engineer or this teacher or whatever, okay? So here's what I mean by we were tapping into their normal behavior. And you guys think of for yourself. You might not do these things, but think about what you would do. And please answer out loud. If you had to choose between going on a diet by yourself or doing it with a partner or a couple partners, how many of you guys would rather do it with someone else than by yourself? Okay. Second one, you're going to go work out for 6 months. You're going to go exercise for 6 months. Would you rather do it by yourself or with a partner? You're going to go run a 5K or do the walk for the cure. With someone else or with a partner? You're going to take a 90-day challenge. You want to take it by yourself or with a partner? We just tapped into people's normal recruiting processes. People have a normal recruiting process. We know this because we say things like, you tell people about restaurants. You tell, like, so this is how we, this is what we justify. You tell people about restaurants, why can't you tell them about this? Because that's not normal. So we tapped into their normal behavior, right? And their normal behavior is this. Hey, the engineer can show up to work and they're like, what's new? Oh, I'll tell you what's new. I'm doing this 90-day challenge. My goal is to lose 20 pounds. I want to take a 90-day challenge with you. Great. Well, what do I got to do? What you're going to do is you're going to pick one of these 4 kits. I'm taking the transformation kit because I'm trying to get lots of weight off. And my goal is to lose 20 pounds like I told you. And by the way, if I get 3, I get mine free, so you better be one of them. Right? You don't have to train that, right? It's just normal conversation for people. And if they even struggle with that, they got that quick 6-minute video that you guys saw. How many of you guys felt like that was a pretty normal video, right? You didn't smell like, the yacht coming in, the Porsche coming in. You looked at it and said, yeah, that could probably play anywhere, and everyone would accept it. They might not do it, but they'd what? Accept it. The word is comfortable, okay? The reason why we grow so fast is people are comfortable. I don't know if they're excited. I don't know if they're jacked up. I don't know about any of that, but I know they're comfortable. And if a person is comfortable in their own skin, they'll talk about it to everyone. So here is, a visual of that same thing as to why we're growing so fast. Uh-oh, lost a limb there. Hang on. Okay. So many of you guys have drawn this sales funnel before in your trainings, where you draw a little funnel like this, right? And you got a little 3-step process here, step 1, step 2, step 3. This one right here is your presentation, more than likely, right? Your last step is your presentation. And we tell people, just throw people in the funnel. Just throw them in the funnel, and the system will sort them out, right? Your training program is probably something similar to that. Now, the problem is your person is too afraid to go approach these people to even place them into the quote-unquote sales funnel. So one of the reasons why, I don't know a number on this, an actual one, so I am making this one up, but I gotta believe we got at least 10 times the amount of people that are being approached by our people because they're comfortable approaching them. They don't even know they're approaching them. They don't know they're running a sales process. Here's number 2. The second thing that's happening is because remember, in an approach, there's 2 parties. There's this party and there's that party, right? There's this party and there's that party. This party has to be comfortable to tell you, but that party has to be what? Interested, receptive. If they're not interested, they don't go through the funnel. So our marketing message is more received by the listener. It's more comfortable to share from the recruiter, and it's more received by the person being recruited. So I don't know how many more people we got going through this process, but it's a heck of a lot more than the competition. And you know, we all hear about Jim Rohn, safety in numbers, law of averages. Well, I know if this many more people are going through, a heck of a lot more are coming out the bottom. And I also know, because our marketing message is what it is, that we probably got a lot greater conversion as well. Now this process, guys, isn't that different for us. Hey, watch the video, you know, look at the website, and then show up at the home for the presentation. It's the same system. But by the time people know what's going on, by the time they get here, they don't care. Because here's why somebody joins or doesn't join network marketing. We forget this, and I promise you I forgot for 5 years. We forget that while we're running a process on someone, they're not only having a process ran, but they're evaluating the process. And at the end of the process, they're going, am I, number one, comfortable running that same process with everyone I know? And number 2, can I even do it anyways? So if they say, no, I'm not comfortable, or no, I can't do it, it's too hard, they're done. They never sign up. That's right. And even if they do sign up, we've learned that most of them can't do it anyways, right? So this is, guys, why we're getting so many people through that sales funnel so quickly, okay? And it's been a rocket ship. I'm going to give you guys 3 sets of sales numbers, then I'm going to come back to the concept that I just went into in detail there of the 90-day challenge, and then we'll close out this segment, have some shakes, etc. So January 15th, actually January 1st, 2010 till now. On January 1st, 2010, our sales were about 1.5 million that month. You say, well, I thought you guys were doing 3 million a month. Yeah, I also tell you we dropped 40%, right? Didn't I tell you guys that? So yeah, we're down at 1.5 million. We went backwards. So we're at 1.5 million a month. And for 17 straight months, we grew double-digit compounded growth for 17 straight months, with the exception of December. So anybody who can draw a graph knows that that looks approximately like this. We started at 1.5 million here. We closed out at just shy of 14 million a month last month. That is a 10x growth. 10x. I know how to double, triple, quadruple, quintuple even, but I don't know, 10-tuple? I don't even know what that number is, right? We have 10x'd our growth in 17 months. Double-digit compounded growth every month but December of 2010. We are right now the #1 fastest growing network marketing company in North America. We just received the award from the Direct Selling News a month ago for the largest turnaround in 1 year in the history of network marketing. Pretty cool thing. What else? The last month, check this out. Just shy of 40,000 people joined the challenge in last month alone. That's May. 40,000 people. Here's the number I'm most proud of. 33,000 of them were customers. 33,000, just under 33,000 said, I'm just going to take the challenge, okay? So when you think of something, guys, at 40,000, that's a 500,000 people a year taking the challenge if we just stay the same where we are right now. Well, when we get it to 80,000 a month, that will be 1 million people a year taking the challenge. You guys know what 1 million people a year who lose 20 pounds on average is? 20 million pounds. That's something that you could get excited about if you were to help a country, if you were to help a continent lose 20 million pounds. That's something that will wake you up in the morning to get you going, right? So that's one set of data. We're the #1 fastest growing network marketing company out there today. Number 2, we're the #1 fastest growing weight loss challenge in North America today. And we're not even officially a weight loss challenge. Only 2/3 of our consumers use it for weight loss. The other 1/3 use it for fitness or for general health reasons. The third set of data is more personal. Okay? On the third set of data, it was something that I personally had to decide and do, and it correlates with this last set of data. January 15th, 2010, I made a personal decision to resign as the chief sales officer of the company and sign back up as a distributor within my own company. And hindsight's 20/20. Everyone's like, "Oh, you made the right decision," but at the time, it wasn't an extremely logical choice. Let me kind of break down to you guys where I was at. I was in a position where I was making a very large, guaranteed 6-figure income, budgets, staff, office in Beverly Hills, and I can't be fired because I own the company, and we're at the height of a recession, and I'm 30. This is pretty much everyone's dream career, right? You're 30, big income, can't be fired, yada, 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 right? On the other side of the T chart was no guaranteed income, no budgets, no staff. And P.S., 80% of everyone you know is already in the company because it's your company that you've been building for the last 4.5 years. A lot of people forget that when I tell them I went in the field, like, "Oh, yeah, guys, everyone I knew was already in the company." So most of them just assumed that I was able to become a master distributor or override it. No, I wasn't. I asked. I mean, to me, it was logical. I was like, "Yeah, just put me in above my group." The board said, "Hey, you're going to we respectfully decline. Go out there and build it sideline to your group." I said, "Well, that's an interesting thought." Now, at this point, I had already sold myself on the idea, though, right? I never crossed my mind that I wasn't going to be able to work with my old team. I never even thought about it for a moment. So I was like, you know what? Hey, this is no-brainer. So when it came back and they said no, I was like, oh man, I've already sold myself on this idea. I can't go back to work, take a job. I'll do it anyways, right? So I signed up as a distributor with 20% of my network who have all told me no for 5 straight years, including Luke and Deb, who were the connection between me and all of you guys. Luke and Deb were my friends from 13 years ago. They told me no for 5 straight years, right? They were on that list. And away we went. And it was scary. But I tell you this story because I need all of you guys to operate in a similar fashion that I personally operated in. What I mean by that is I had to make a decision based on intuition as opposed to logic. Because logically, I made a really bad decision. Logically. Intuitively, though, I knew it was my only decision. And I knew it was my have-to decision. I have to go in the field. Intuitively, I felt, here's why, I felt like we had the best model out there, but I also felt that we were going to be the best thing that nobody knew about if somebody didn't come prove it fast. And there's a lot of best things that nobody knows about, you just don't know about them, right? Because that's just, they don't catch wind. So I had a fear that if somebody didn't come prove this model, we were gonna be the best thing nobody heard about. And there was a part of me that believed if we were going to relaunch this company, that it was going to take somebody that was creating this model to go do it themselves. And it makes sense now. I mean, now I don't understand why all owners of companies aren't out there building it the same way the distributors are. I understand why you need people to run the operation. But I could not sit in the office and say, hey guys, just go do it, it'll work. And a part of me said, I'm going to go out there and show everyone that this will work. So we resigned. We were in the field. And because of, and I definitely want to make this clear, because the model was right, not because I became a distributor, but because the model was right, number one, and number two, because I found people who, yes, indeed, validated that the model was right. What I'm not saying is the data I'm about to go over is because of me. I'm saying because the model and the people that I brought to the table, right? I had influence over its results, but I wasn't one of the top 2 reasons, okay? What happened next was, to my knowledge, we are the #1 fastest growing team in North America in 17 months. I've yet to have anyone call me on this, so I'm gonna keep saying to my knowledge, and because it's ridiculous, the growth. Guys, we started at 0 per month in sales 17 months ago. This week, 3 days ago, my team closed out at $9.5 million a month in sales. As a team, we went from 0 a month in sales to a $100 million company as a team in 17 months. And yes, that was off 20% of my network. So when you think about that, that's a crazy number. Wow, you must be good. It's the model that's good. And the people that I found validated that the model was good, and they exploded. That's the main 2 reasons. Within that $9.5 million a month, we have over 1,500 BMW qualifiers in our team today, and over 110 6- and 7-figure earners in 17 months. That's 110 people on our team earning between $8,000 a month and $125,000 a month, which is probably now with Kyle going to be $140,000 a month in 17 months. The most exciting thing to me is that myself and Ashley, my fiance, we're not the #1 earners in our own team. We're the #2 earners in our own team. And I look back at that, I realized within the first 60 days of what we were doing that it was the best thing that ever happened to the company. And it wasn't even a guy I referred, it was someone that was referred by one of my front lines. Does he have networking experience? Absolutely. Has he been successful? Absolutely. But so have you. And him being #1 validates that you didn't have to be the founder of the company to go out there and be #1, right? It was just a guy who sat in a room just like this, just like you. Who will cross 140,000 for May's commissions. And that's and growing every month. And we're taking another 12 people to 6 figures or more every month with us, right? So it's been an exciting journey. I've been just on a balance between on cloud 9, pinch me, and you know what? It's happening exactly the way we planned it to. You know what I mean? It's like you always visualize, when you visualize something happening since you're 18 years old, when it happens, you're not so surprised by it, but if you stop to smell the flowers, then you're at the same time, you're like, wow. So I recognize how blessed we are. I recognize how fortunate we are, how lucky we are. But on the flip side, we're not slowing down. We're not comfortable at all. Okay? Couple more things before we close this section out, guys. So that's what's happened in the last 17 months, and kind of bringing this full circle to a head here. Here's where our company is. Here's where we're going to stay, and here is what we've stumbled upon that we know is making us grow so fast. Less than 4%. And it's probably more like 3% of Americans participate in direct sales network marketing. The other 96% do not. This 96% I'm going to call mainstream. Not only do they not, I know that's a double negative, not only do they not participate in network marketing, they actually think that all of us are weird. It's a true story. And if you don't think your friends and family think you're weird, the next time there's a family reunion, leave a tape recorded and call in and say, I'm going to a convention, I won't be there. Again. And watch what's said, okay? So, this industry right here of network marketing has had no new ideas, no new concepts, nothing to speak of late, that this group has gone out there and captured a major piece of mainstream. They just haven't crossed over to here. It's not growing, is what I'm saying, okay? So what it is people going from company to company to company, taking the same people with them, not getting new people into the industry, growing them, converting them, etc. It's just one gigantic circle. And it's not just the distributors. It's also the owners. I can tell you as an owner, we used to sit in a room going, what's Monavi doing? Somebody get me their new stuff, right? And then we would sit there and we were like, what's this company doing? What's that company doing? What's this company doing? And the moment we stopped trying to be everyone else is the moment we exploded. And guys, we made a pact in that room when we created the 90-day challenge that we were never going to care what another company was doing in this industry again, or where another distributor was, or whatever. And this isn't an ego thing. People confuse this. We just don't see ourselves in this circle anymore. We see ourselves as trying to do a different type of thing. If you're trying to do a different type of thing, you wouldn't try to compete against somebody doing a different type of thing. You guys follow me? The irony of it is that now that we don't care, every company, especially the newer ones, is trying to be us, and we're capturing all the attention of the people we were trying to capture the attention of for the first 5 years of business that we could never capture the attention of. Now, I do realize that I made one statement in here that makes everyone go, but aren't you here meeting with network marketers? And I recognize that is a bit of an oxymoron, what I just said, is that we are a network marketing company talking to network marketers right now. I recognize that. But two things. One is I'm not a headhunter. I'm not the guy. I didn't call Luke every week or every day going, you really got to join our deal, man. You're missing out. I'm getting rich over here. That's not how it works. It was just two friends that every once in a while checked in, and he checked in, and I checked in, and he checked in, and finally he said, let's go. And that's how we ended up together. It wasn't, this aggressive. I'm not an aggressive network marketer headhunter. If they show up, fine. If they don't, fine, right? But also, I want you guys to know what we're looking for. If you are a networker, we're looking for people that don't want to do this anymore, but want to tap into this. Some of you do, some of you do not. The ones who do not, it's completely okay. You can make 20 grand a month just signing up and enrolling networkers from every other company and keep doing that over and over again. What we're trying to do is we're trying to tap into a new group of people that have never done it before. And I'll tell you what, the retention on that's a heck of a lot longer. And if that's something that excites you, then that's who we are. What I'm trying to get at, guys, is we're tapping into mainstream. And really what's happening is it's not even this going that way, it's we're getting mainstream to come this way. This is what's happening. Mainstream is coming into our industry. And I said the word over and over and over again. The reason why is they're comfortable. We're getting everyone. We're getting the stay-at-home mom who doesn't feel skilled enough to go be successful at that because she never worked in sales or business or whatever before. We're getting the VP of the company who says, I'm too important to do that type of stuff. They feel comfortable. We're getting the cool crowd. Man, I'm cool, man. That stuff is weird. I ain't going to do that weird stuff. We'll get the cool crowd to sign up. We're getting we get the rich crowd. We'll get the poor crowd. We get every crowd here because all of them are comfortable. We get the crowd that has a brand, whether it's a fitness competitor, whether it's Hulk Hogan, whether it's Jenny Lynn. We get all these people with brands because of the fact that they're willing to launch a 90-day challenge. They're not willing to lend their brand to a product or an opportunity, but they'll launch a 90-day challenge all day long. Hulk Hogan's challenge, 90 days with JennyLynn.com. Jenny Lynn, by the way, is the winningest person in the history of the International Federation of Bodybuilding, 3-time Miss Figure Olympia, 2-time Arnold Classic winner. You saw her on that video earlier. So this is just examples of all of the people that we're capturing from here and moving into here. We're a crossover company. We're crossing over into mainstream. And we're creating tools. We're creating devices. We're creating, I'm trying not to give too much away. Our focus right now is creating the tools to get into mainstream and not necessarily to just capture more of this. Because guys, here's the math. What I'm going to tell you guys next, there's two types of people. You're either going to say that's undeniable, or you're going to be in denial, because there's no in between on this. You could have 100% of this industry, 100% of it, and it would still be smaller than 5% of this. 5%, 2% of this, 2.5% of this you'd be bigger than Avon and Amway combined. You tell me which company in here doing what they're doing right now is going to be bigger than as big as Avon and Amway. Who's going to get to 10 billion next? It's not even close. It's got to be someone who's doing something drastically different to capture a whole bunch of this. Because what it would take is it would take a network marketing company absorbing every downline of every company outside of Avon and Amway's and Herbalife's to be a multiple billion-dollar company. Do you guys think that's likely? Nope. It's not going to happen. So you're going to have to get out here. And that's why I said this is undeniable. If you're going to be a company that's going to get to 3, 4, 5, 6 billion, it's not going to be in here. Here's the great thing about this. 5% of this is bigger than 100% of this with 0% of the egos. It's crazy. None of the egos. It's so cool. So, guys, it's been it's been so enlightening and refreshing to be a crossover company. And what we do next, when we launch the Challenge 2.0, when you see, we just now figured out. Can you guys imagine this? That graph you saw? I promise you, in the last 90 days is when we're just figuring out all of the psychological reasons why and the core drivers of what's moving our company. We just have now really, really deeply understand it. Now we're going to start pouring gasoline in that fire. And come our Vitality Convention Orlando, when we roll out the Challenge 2.0, meaning the next version of the Challenge, all these wannabe companies that have their 12-week, 84, this many day challenge that just think this launch challenge, they can be us, it's over when they see what we do next. Because knowing what we are and knowing what's got us to where we're at and then improving on that, it's going to be really hard to catch up. So who are we trying to be as a company? Great question if you were thinking that. It'd be really hard to be a company that says we're going to be the company that is synonymous with a weight loss shake. That would be hard to do. We're going to be the company that's going to be synonymous with weight loss. That would be hard to do, right? You'd have to be super, super big company. Here's what we're going to dominate. We're going to be the company that's synonymous to a health challenge. Who dominates the health challenge vertical market? Who dominates that? Nobody dominates it. But imagine now when all of these companies, not just in our industry, but outside of our industry, Jenny Craig, Zumba, whatever, they start launching their challenge. We want everyone to go, is that Body by Vi thing? That's what we want to happen. We want everyone, we want the word challenge to be synonymous to our company. And we are going to do everything in our power to own that concept because it's wide open. And man, I bet you we could capture a little piece of this, 1%, and become a $10 billion company if we become the company that's synonymous with a health challenge. We want to be, when somebody thinks of a tissue, when they say hand me a tissue, they say hand me a what? Kleenex. When they say, hey, you're doing that health challenge, we want them to think Body by Vi. Whether they're on ours or not, that's what we want them to think. We want to be synonymous with a challenge. And that's exciting. So I want to leave you guys with a quick story. And this will be the first time that my fiance ever heard this story because I've never told the story before until I met Christina Perry. So I met Christina Perry 30 days ago, and I was sitting with her and Luke and Deb and the Jennings and some other folks, and she said to me, she said, Nick, I'm not unhappy. I'm not in a situation where our company's going out of business. Maybe some of you guys are. I'm not in a situation where I'm drastically unhappy and I've been done wrong. Maybe some of you guys are. But maybe some of you guys are like Christina. Maybe some of you guys are just, she's like, I'm comfortable. I'm not unhappy. And before I could get it back out of my mouth, said, well, have I got a story for you, right? That was what came out of my mouth next. Because it was the first thing that popped in my head. Now, ever since that day, she makes me tell this story in scenarios like this. So I'm still getting comfortable telling the story because it wasn't supposed to be used as a part of a presentation. It's just now, I'm just getting comfortable with it. So 2.5 years ago, my director of communications is feeling sad. And I can see that he's feeling sad, so I say, hey, man, let me take you out to lunch. What's wrong? oh, I broke up with my girlfriend. I'm like, oh man, all right, I'll take you out to lunch. So I sit him down, I'm like, tell me the story. He said, man, I broke up with her. I was like, well, why did you break up with her? He said, because I was talking to my sister. My sister just broke up with her fiance. They were together 3, 4, 5 years. And I'm with my girlfriend 3 years, and they look like they're happy. They look great. Things seem to be fine. Everything seems to be going well, okay, blah, 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 blah. So I asked my sister, I said, why the heck did you break up with, I don't remember his name, Bob? And she said, I broke up with Bob because we, not him, we in our relationship, we are an 8. We're an 8. And I don't want to live the rest of my life in an 8 when I know I can find a level 10 relationship. I don't want good. I don't want comfortable. I want to live the rest of my life as happy as I can possibly be. And John said, I knew exactly at that moment that I was in an 8 and that I was going to have to go home and break up with my girlfriend. No, story's not done. As John's telling me this story, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in an 8. I swear to God. So I knew exactly at that moment that I was going to have to go home and end a 4-year relationship. I swear, this is a true story. Because I couldn't figure out why I wasn't after 4 years. I mean, I'm 30 years old. I'm supposed to be getting married, da-da-da-da. It's because there wasn't nothing wrong. It just wasn't a 10. I was in an 8. Well, we ended the relationship, and both of us actually, she went on and is now getting married. She's found her 10. But for me, my personal story is I was able to go on and find my 10, and now I get married on 11/11/11 with Ashley in the back here. And guys, I've never been happier. Thank you. I've never been happier in my life because I made a decision not to be comfortable, but to go after a 10 scenario. And what I'm asking you guys is comfortable enough for you? Is not unhappy enough for you? Have you gone so far down the line that you've given up so much, hope as to what's possible that, few grand a month or 10 grand or whatever, the comfortable is enough for you, right? Because I believe we have that 10 scenario. Not for everybody, but I believe we have it for a lot of people. And you know what? If you are unhappy, then great, we're here for you. If you are in a bad situation, great, that we're here for you. But if you're just in a scenario where you're comfortable, is that enough for you? It wasn't enough for Christina and her team, and that's why we're all together this evening. So I thank you guys for spending some time with me. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to make you guys some shakes, let you use the restroom, and then in 5 minutes we'll get back together. I'm going to introduce you to 2 people that are just going to share their quick story where I pulled one out of the hallway and the other one's my fiance, and then we're going to go into the comp plan. So thanks guys, we'll meet you in 5 minutes. Thanks.